This is Sophie Heller, and this is an ACT reading question. The question asks us, what is the author's purpose? So if we look at our passage, we see that the author spends a lot of time trying to address himself to ministers and to get them to change their empires. So his point is that a great empire, like a great cake, is most easily diminished at the edges. With that in mind, the ministers should turn their attention to the remotest provinces and then get rid of them. And by using this separation, then their empires will be a lot stronger, even though they're smaller. So let's look at our choices and see what reflects this. Our first choice is to communicate the wisdom of an ancient sage. And yes, he does start with this quote from an ancient sage, but the rest of the passage doesn't talk about this. So this is just an introductory quote. So that's not good. Choice number 2, to advise ministers of churches who do not take time for fun and fiddling. So this isn't going to be good either, because he's addressing himself to just ministers in general, so not necessarily of churches. And he's not talking about the idea that they don't take time for fiddling, because he's really just talking about a change to be made within their empires, not because they're not fun. That has nothing to do with it. Choice 3, to describe how a little country can make itself a great one. And we do see this in the boasts of the ancient sage, but he's really talking about how a really large empire should get rid of its remote provinces, become smaller, and become stronger because all of its power will be concentrated in a smaller area. So this is the opposite of what he's advising. So we're left with choice 4, but it makes sense. He's telling us how a great city may be reduced to a small one by removing provinces and making things much more efficient. So choice 4 is correct.